All right. Coming up on Double Take Sports Talk, we're going to have our cut. I had to pray for I had to pray for it because I'm sitting up here trying to do two things at once. I had to pray for it. Whew. Okay. All right. Let me collect myself. I gotta do that.
I already stopped recording.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming up on DTST with the Watch Brothers, we will have our stats of the game, what you need to know for week 3, predictions for week 3, and our headlines, and what stood out to us, and final thoughts of the show. So stay tuned, folks. Double Take Sports Talk with the Watch Brothers is next. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Welcome to Double Take Sports Talk with the Watch Brothers. I'm Daryl. On the opposite side, say hello to Daryl. Watch everybody.
Daryl Watts, what's going on?
Not that much, man. Just, living the day.
Yeah.
We all know this. Just living the day.
Just living it the way we can.
Of course. Well, we had some pretty interesting week 2 games
Uh-huh.
that went along. So, of course, today we got stats from week 2, what you need to know going into week 3. What else we got on the menu today? I've ripped up my notes.
Predictions, what you
Yep.
know, and headlines,
And
final
thoughts.
what stood out to us.
Yep. All righty. That's what we got on the menu today. So, Darren, you ready to rock out another episode of Double Take Sports Talk?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some stats from the games. We're going to go ahead and jot down from, of course, the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games, unless they don't have any from the Thursday night games.
I do not.
All right, so 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock games. Let's take a look at them real quick. First, we're going to start this off with the New England Patriots. Quarterback Tom Brady has completed 30 of 39 passes, which is 80%, for 447 yards and 3 touchdowns with no picks for a 139.6 passer rating in the Patriots' 36-20 win at New Orleans. Brady has 52 career games with at least 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions, passing Peyton Manning with 51 for most such performances in NFL history. Tom Brady and Saints quarterback Drew Brees entered the game with a combined 128,251 passing yards and 922 touchdown passes. Both totals are most in NFL history for opposing starting quarterbacks in the game. Of course, Brady has 61,849 passing yards and 456 touchdown passes, and Drew Brees has 66,402 passing yards and 466 touchdowns. Next up on the list, Kansas City Chiefs. Rookie running back Kareem Hunt, boy's going to be a beast, rushed for 2 touchdowns in the Chiefs' 27-20 win over Philadelphia. Kareem Hunt, who scored 3 touchdowns, of course, 2 receiving and 1 rushing, in his NFL debut last week, is the first player in NFL history to have at least 3 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns in his first 2 career games. Hunt has scored 5 touchdowns in his first 2 career games. Only Dutch Starneman with 6 of the 1920 Decatur Staleys has scored more touchdowns in his first 2 career games.
It's almost
That is
100
a
years.
I know, that is a shame. What is that? 97 years?
Yep.
Shame. Hunt had a 53-yard rushing touchdown in the win over Philadelphia, combined with his 78-yard touchdown reception in Week 1. He is the 3rd player in NFL history to record 50-plus yard scrimmage touchdown in each of his first 2 career games. Only Dub Jones in 1950 and Alan Amiche in 1955. Gee whiz. Anyway, let's move on before I stay on that topic to the Kansas City Chiefs. Ooh, sorry. The Los Angeles Chargers. Oh, God. Tight end Antonio Gates had a touchdown catch in the team's loss against Miami. He has 112 career touchdown catches and passed Tony Gonzalez with 111 for the most receiving touchdowns by a tight end in NFL history. Gates' 112 touchdown receptions are the 6th most in NFL history. So my main question is, when is he going to actually hang up the cleats? Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quarterback Ben Roethlisberger completed 23 of 35 passes, which was 66%, for 243 yards with 2 touchdowns and no picks for 104.8 passer rating in the Steelers' 26-9 win over Minnesota at Heinz Field. Roethlisberger has thrown a touchdown pass in 45 consecutive home games. That is the 3rd longest streak in NFL history and the longest active streak. Only Drew Brees with 60 games and Tom Brady with 47 have longer streaks all time. Baltimore Ravens. The team defense recorded 4 interceptions and 3 sacks in the team's 24-10 win against Cleveland. The Ravens, who had 5 sacks and intercepted 4 passes in Week 1 at Cincinnati, are the only team with at least 4 interceptions and 3 sacks in each of its first 2 games of a season since the sack became an official stat in 1982. The Ravens are the third team since 1970 and the first since 1992, of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers, to have at least 4 interceptions in each of the first 2 games of a season. The 71 Browns are the only team to accomplish the feat since 1970. And sticking with those 2 teams, with the Browns, tackle Joe Thomas started his 162nd consecutive games in the Browns' loss at Baltimore. He entered the game having played 9,996 consecutive offensive snaps, reached 10,000 consecutive snaps played on the Browns' 4th offensive play of the game. That's a long time. Thomas, who played every snap of last week's game, today's game, and extended his consecutive snap streak to 10,062, has not missed an offensive snap in his 11-year NFL career. Lastly, but not least, the Indianapolis Colts. Running back Frank Gore had a rushing touchdown in the Colts' overtime loss to Arizona, his 75th career touchdown run. Gore, who also has 16 career receiving touchdowns, is the 6th player in NFL history with at least 75 rushing touchdowns and 15 receiving touchdowns in his career, joining Pro Football Hall of Famers Marcus Allen, Jim Brown, Marshall Faulk, Walter Payton, and LaDainian Tomlinson. That's all I have from the stats of the game for Week 2. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to look for what we need to know for week 3. Also, what to look for week 3. Of course, we're going to start this one off with the London affair, of course, of International League Series for the NFL games that has been located in London for quite some time. The 2017 London Series began in Week 3 with the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the Baltimore Ravens at London's Wembley Stadium, which is 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and it was streamed live on Yahoo. It would be the first of a record 4 games to be played in London this season. On Sunday, October 1st at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Fox, the Miami Dolphins will host the New Orleans Saints at Wembley Stadium. Then the action will move to, I believe it'd be Twickenham or Wickenham Stadium for the final 2 London games. The first of which will feature the Los Angeles Rams and the Arizona Cardinals, which is the NFC West rival. That will be taken on Sunday, October 22nd at 1 o'clock p.m. on Fox. And the 2017 London Series will conclude on Sunday, October 29th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on NFL Network, the Browns, and the Vikings. The London Series has seen some very close contests in this inception since in 2007. In the first 17 games, 10 games has been decided by one score, including the tie between the Bengals and the Redskins of October 30th, 2016. Moving on to Kareem Hunt, Kansas City Rookies running back. Kareem Hunt has 109 scrimmage yards, of course, 81 rushing, 28 receiving, and 2 rushing touchdowns in the Chiefs' 27-20 Week 2 win against Philadelphia. With 98 scrimmage yards in Week 3 against Los Angeles Chargers, he will have 355 scrimmage yards in his first 2 games, would surpass Sid Blanks of the 1964 Houston Oilers with 452 yards for the second most scrimmage yards by a player in his first 3 career games. Moving on. Go keep it to the opposite now with the Chargers. With 2 touchdowns against the Chargers, this is Kareem Hunt, sorry. He will pass Billy Sims and Dutch Stoneman for the most touchdowns by a player in his first 3 career games. Hunt is the first player in NFL history with at least 3 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns in his first 2 career games. Moving on now to Derek Carr. The quarterback threw 3 touchdown passes in the Raiders' 45-20 win over the New York Jets in Week 2. Derek Carr, who has 86 career touchdown passes, will be making his 50th career start on Sunday night against Washington, if he don't sustain injury before then. With 4 touchdown passes against the Redskins, he will become the 6th quarterback in NFL history to record at least 90 touchdown passes in his first 50 career games. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, running back Le'Veon Bell will be playing in his 50th career game on Sunday at Chicago. Has 6,188 career scrimmage yards. With 107 scrimmage yards on Sunday, he will surpass Pro Football Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson for the third most scrimmage yards in NFL history through his first 50 career games. Also moving on to Rob Gronkowski, the New England Patriots tight end, and, of course, Dallas wide receiver Dez Bryant each had a touchdown catch in Week 2. Both players can enjoy elite company in Week 3. Gronkowski, who has 69 touchdown catches in 90 career games, and Dez Bryant, who has 68 touchdown receptions in 99 games, can each join Pro Football Hall of Famers Jerry Rice, Don Hudson, and Lance Offworth, and Randy Moss as the only players in NFL history with at least 70 touchdown catches in their first 100 career games. Moving on now to the New York Giants. Their wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr., had 4 catches in his season debut in Week 2. With 8 catches on Sunday at Philadelphia, Odell Beckham who has 292 receptions and 44 career games, would reach 300 career receptions in the fewest games in NFL history. Also moving on to the Carolina Panthers. They defeated the Buffalo Bills 9-3 in Week 2 to improve to 2-0 on the season. The Panthers have not allowed more than 3 points in each of their first 2 games. With 3 or fewer points allowed against New Orleans on Sunday, Carolina will become the first team since the 1937 Chicago Bears to allow 3 or fewer points in each of its first 3 games of the season. The Baltimore Ravens defeated Cleveland 24-10 last week behind 5 total takeaways, 4 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery to improve to 2-0. Baltimore has recorded 5 takeaways in each of the team's first 2 games of the season, with 5 takeaways against Jacksonville on Sunday in the London game, which would be kind of difficult to surpass with the defense of the Jaguars. The Ravens will become the first team since the 1962 Green Bay Packers to force at least 5 turnovers in each of the team's first 3 games of the season. Well, I wouldn't say defense. It'd be more offense. It could be a pretty piece of cake, sort of. Moving on now to the Arizona Cardinals. Their wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald, has 1,134 catches for 14,484 receiving yards and 104 touchdowns in his 14-year career. With 97 receiving yards against Dallas on Monday night, Fitzgerald would pass Pro Football Hall of Famer, former Colt, Marvin Harrison, with 14,580 for the 8th most receiving yards in NFL history. Lastly, but not least, the Indianapolis Colts. Running back Frank Gore has 13,153 rushing yards in his 13-year career. With 107 rushing yards against Cleveland on Sunday, he would surpass Pro Football Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson with 13,259 yards. Yes, for the 7th most rushing yards in NFL history. The 7 players ahead of Gore on the NFL's all-time rushing list are enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That is all you need to know for Week 3. Everybody enjoy Week 3. That was also via NFL Communications. All right, ladies and gentlemen, predictions time.
Love this part.
Yeah, this is the one of the best parts of the podcast is our predictions. Now we're heading on to Week 3, getting ready for predictions here. It's going to be some pretty interesting games and probably some pretty interesting picks. So, with that being said, Darren, you ready to go ahead and let this one out?
Yeah, let's let it out.
All right, here we go.
All
Predictions.
Right. So here we go. Week 3 in the NFL. We'll start out with the Thursday night game. We have the Los Angeles Rams going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Daryl, who do you have in this game?
Rams.
And you got the Rams.
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
I agree. I'm going with the Rams. I don't think so.
You'd have been a fool if you picked the 49ers.
Really?
Oh,
I
yeah.
know I would have been a fool. I'm
going to be a fool for some of these. Trust me.
Let me just say this. If I would have picked the 49ers, I would never predict the game again.
Who wouldn't?
All right, next game. Now we switch over to the 1 o'clock games. That's let me be a little bit more diligent and be a little more prepared for what I'm doing.
That's okay, man. It's okay.
Well, I'm just not. First off, I don't have my glasses on. If you ain't noticed,
Yeah, I know.
I have to actually read off the screen because I can't read this.
What a shame.
It is a shame.
What a shame.
Daggone shame. But the next game, these are all 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games on Sunday. We will start off with the Do I really want to start out with them? Not really feeling it. Yep. Let's go ahead and start out with them. We'll start off with the I'm glad I did. 9:30 game. Forgot about that. This game's gonna be played in London.
Yeah.
Start off with the 9:30 game on Sunday, and that would be the Baltimore Ravens and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Daryl, who do you have in this game?
Crap. I see. Yeah, I got the. I'm going to pick the Ravens this game.
It's very interesting. I'm gonna be the first fool to say this, but I'm gonna pick the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game.
I got Ravens defense is looking so incredible. It's going to be the battle of the defense. I'm going to tell you that now. It's going to be the battle of the defense. But the Ravens defense is looking so good.
They are looking good, and I'm not disagreeing on that. But my problem is that neither teams are home. And Jacksonville has played in London every either week 2 or week 3. And have won majority of their games. I'm sticking with Jacksonville.
Yeah, but they ain't never played a dangerous defense of the Baltimore Ravens in London either.
That's very true.
That's going to be a test.
That's very true.
That's very true.
But I think this would be a distraction for the Baltimore Ravens going out in London.
That's going to be vacation.
Okay, it's okay. That's even worse. You call that a vacation, but I don't think they're going to focus. I'm sticking with Jacksonville. I'm going to stick with Jacksonville.
I'm calling this a good vacation for Baltimore. It's going to be like, man, defense looks so mean and greedy. They ain't going to take over that game. They're going to take over London. That's just me. That's just the defense.
That's the 9:30 game in London. We'll see who has that game. Next game. These are now 1 o'clock games. We'll start off with the first 1 o'clock game. Will be the first on the field. It will be the Cleveland Browns and the Indianapolis Colts. Daryl? Very interesting pick.
Yep. I'm going to be your first fool. I'm picking the Browns. They're going to win their first game this year.
Okay. You got the Cleveland Browns this game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Considering what the Browns have went through, they played some very tough defenses, and they kept up.
Yes.
After looking at it, I'm going to be a fool right with you. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns in this game.
And you know the reason why I picked the Browns too? Last week, the Cardinals had absolutely no business winning that game against the Colts. Had no business. The Colts defense was so stellar and so strong, but then they collapsed in the fourth quarter.
Like how they always normally would do.
So that's how you know if the Colts cannot hang on to a team like the Arizona Cardinals, what makes you think they can hold on to the Browns?
That's very true. And just to keep a FYI update, the Cleveland Browns are 0-2 on the year, along with the Indianapolis Colts. They are 0-2 on the year. The Baltimore Ravens and the Jacksonville Jaguars game, Baltimore is undefeated with a 2-0 record, and the Jacksonville Jaguars stand at 1-1. And for that Thursday night game, the Los Angeles Rams are 1-1 with the San Francisco 49ers being winless in 2 games.
Yep.
So that's just an FYI. Next game, also 1 o'clock. It will be on Fox. The 0-1 New York Giants going up against the 1-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Now, you've been picking the Philadelphia Eagles as a pretty big fan here, Daryl. Will this continue?
Nope. I got the Giants.
Okay. You got the Giants in this game.
Yes, I did. I got the Giants in this game.
Well, do what I normally would do. I'm going against the Giants. I'm going with the Eagles.
No arguments. I understand. This one I understand. This one I understand. So I'm not going to argue on that one.
It's a lot of history between these two teams.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of history.
The last time they played, the Philadelphia Eagles capped off the win on December 22nd of 2016 with a 24-19 win over them.
And they were supposed to have won that game. I picked them to win that game too, and they didn't.
Yep. And then on November 6th, they were supposed to have there was the Giants pulling off that win with a 28-23 win over the Philadelphia Eagles.
So this is if Not surprising if this is going to be a tight game.
Yeah. Yeah, but Philadelphia won January 3rd also of 2016 with a 35-30 win over the New York Giants. So,
See, too tight.
yeah,
It's too tight.
Yeah. So bear that in mind. We both have different picks so far. We got two teams so far with different picks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next game, 1 o'clock on CBS. We have the 1-0 Miami Dolphins going up against the 0-2 New York Jets. Daryl, what do you have in this game?
I'm impressed with the Dolphins so far. I'm continuing that streak. I got the Dolphins.
Me too. No arguments. I'm not even going to argue. I definitely agree. I'm going with the Dolphins in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Miami is still rebuilding,
Mm-hmm.
and they have history against the Jets, considering that they are AFC East rivals. They have won their last two matchups against the Jets. The Jets, last time the Jets won against the Dolphins was in 2015, and that was November 29th. They won it 38-20 over Miami. And I believe, I don't know where it was at. I couldn't tell you, but the Dolphins won the last two games, 27-23 on November 6th and 34-13 on December 17th of 2016. So bear that in mind. Next game, also 1 o'clock on CBS. We have the 2-0 Denver Broncos going up against the 1-1 Buffalo Bills. Daryl, have at it.
Broncos dominated last week. I got them again.
No arguments, and I agree. I am going with the Denver Broncos in this game with you. Just as an FYI, the Denver Broncos have won the last two. They won two games. Not their last two games, but won two games against them in their time span of playing. The last time that the Bills won, they blew them out. Was 40-14 back on December 24th of 2011. The Denver Broncos won August 20th, which was a preseason game, 24-10. And then the Broncos won just recently, 3 years ago, 24-17 over the Buffalo Bills. Bear that in mind. Next game, 1 o'clock on Fox. We have the 0-2 New Orleans Saints going up against the 2-0 Carolina Panthers. This is an NFC South rival. Very interesting game. Carolina won the last matchup by 3. Daryl, what do you have in this game?
I'm going to say this. Even though the Saints have not won a game yet, and they have really shown their bad side, and Carolina has put together an establishing team, I'm not taking any chances on that against the Saints, so I'm going with the Panthers.
Agreed. I got the Panthers in this game, no doubt. I don't see New Orleans winning just yet. They may have a better shot next week. Their last matchup, not the previous one. The November 17th, they won. Carolina won by 3. But then in 2016, October 16th, New Orleans won 41-38. And then on December 6th of 2015, you flipped that score. Carolina won that game. All right, the next game, 1 o'clock on CBS. This is CBS rights. The 2-0 Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the 0-2 Chicago Bears. Daryl, who do you have in this game?
Steelers.
No doubt. They're going to continue winless, and I'm going to keep it like that right now.
I agree.
Their last matchup, September 22nd, 2013, the Bears won the matchup 40-23. The Bears also won in 2009 with a 17-14 win on September 20th, and the Pittsburgh Steelers won in 2005 against the Chicago Bears with a 21-9 win. Next game, 1 o'clock on Fox. We have the 2-0 Atlanta Falcons going up against the 1-0 Detroit Lions. Very interesting game. Daryl, what do you have in this game?
Birds.
If I can find them. Here we go. The Atlanta Falcons I am going to agree with you. I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons in this game. Their defense is too strong, and I don't think that Detroit will be able to pull a comeback if they fall behind. So their best bet is to try to keep ahead of them in the game.
On top of that, they're still picking up from the Super Bowl. So they have not missed a beat.
No, not yet.
They have not missed a beat. Normally, teams like that would have fallen over, and like the Bears did at the Colts won the Super Bowl. They just fell off the map.
Right.
And they ain't been back to the playoffs since.
Right. The last time these two teams faced off, the Lions won in 2014 of October 26, 22-21. And the Atlanta Falcons won the last two with December 22nd, 2012. Falcons won 31-18 and also won October 23rd, 2011 with a 23-16 win. All right, next game, also 1 o'clock on Fox. We have the 1-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the 1-1 Minnesota Vikings. Daryl, who do you have in this game?
This is kind of hard for me because of Sam Bradford having an injury. So, with that being said, I really don't like the way the Vikings are playing up to this point. But even though they have had stellar games, that has taken away from what the Bucs has done either. I am going with the Bucs in this game.
Agreed. I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers also in this game. Minnesota right now has not really lived up to their potential to me on the behalf of being consistent.
I agree.
So I'm sticking with Tampa Bay because they look like they've been consistent to me so far.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Just as an FYI, the Vikings won in 2015 in the preseason matchup, 26-16. Minnesota also won the regular season match of 2014 of October to 26, 19-13. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers also won October 25th of 2012 with a 36-17 win. All right, the last 1 o'clock game on CBS. The Houston Texans going up against the New England Patriots. Daryl?
Patriots.
If I could find it. There you go. I agree. I'm going with New England.
Now, don't get me wrong. Texas got potential to win this game.
They do, but
they got potential. But I cannot see them
because of Bill O'Brien.
Right.
I think he can outcoach Bill Belichick if he wanted to, but I don't think their players are going to live up to that expectation. So I'm sticking with New England.
Yeah, so I agree. And plus, New England still got some injuries that they're still trying to get past, but they still been playing good without key injuries of Danny Amendola and who's the one that just got on injury reserve? Who's going to be missing the season? See, I forgot his name. What is his name? His favorite target.
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman. That's it.
And just as an FYI, the Houston Texans won their last matchup in the preseason matchup, 27-23. I believe that snapped the undefeated streak in the preseason. I believe it was. And then in the playoffs last year, New England won 34-16, and New England won 27-0 on September 22nd of 2016. All right, next game, 4:05 game. 4:05 on Fox. We have the 1-1 Seattle Seahawks going up against the 1-1 Tennessee Titans. Daryl? Tennessee looking good. I ain't gonna lie. They're looking good.
Seahawks is not looking too good. They're not.
Okay.
So, but I don't know how the Titans will fare off against the NFC team like the Seattle Seahawks. So, considering I am going to actually take a chance, and I'm going with the Titans.
Okay. I have a hard time believing that an AFC team really can beat an NFC team in the regular season.
Yeah.
So I am actually going to go with the Seattle Seahawks in this game.
Well, here's my problem. Titans scored 37 points against a dangerous defense of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Seattle's offense only scored 12 freaking points against their rival, San Francisco 49ers. And they won that game 12-9. So you take that, and both defensive sides of both teams, I'm going to take my chances on the Titans.
Okay. The last three matchups against these two teams head-to-head, Seattle won all three. Starting with October 13th to 2013, they won 20-13. August 11th to 2012 in the preseason, they won 27-17. And also the preseason of August 14th to 2010, they won 20-18. Next game. That was actually only the 4-0-5 game. Next game, 4:25 on CBS. We had the 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals going up against the 1-1 Green Bay Packers. Daryl?
Packers. No
doubt. No doubt. No introduction.
That's right.
No nothing.
No nothing.
No nothing. Green Bay all the way. Just as an FYI, Cincinnati have won the last two games against the Green Bay Packers. They won in 2013, September 22nd, 34-30. Green Bay won August 23rd, which was their preseason game of 2012, 27-13. And Cincinnati won the regular season matchup of September 20th, 2009, 31-24.
Wow.
Yeah, so they won their last two regular season matchups. Cincinnati has.
Wow.
That's going to change.
Got that right.
Next game, 4:25 on CBS. We have the 2-0 Kansas City Chiefs going up against the 0-2 Los Angeles Chargers. This is an AFC West battle. Daryl, who do you have in this game?
Chiefs.
No doubt. No doubt.
No arguments.
Nope. No introduction once again. There you have it.
Ooh. Excuse me. Sorry.
And Kansas City have won all three of their matchups. January 1st, 2017, they won 37-27. Kansas City won September 11th, 2016, 33-27. And they also won December 13th of 2015, 10-3. All right. Sunday night on NBC, 8:30. We have the Oakland Raiders, the 2-0 Oakland Raiders going up against the 1-1 Washington Redskins. Daryl?
No arguments. Raiders.
No introduction.
No.
Agreed. Oakland Raiders. I don't think Washington can keep up. It's a possibility, but they can't keep up.
It's a possibility, but I don't see him winning.
And last but not least, Monday night game on ESPN, 8:30. We have the 1-1 Dallas Cowboys going up against the 1-1 Arizona Cardinals. Bruce Arians is a well-respected man in coaching. The Arizona Cardinals have really done a phenomenal job of coaching the Arizona Cardinals with Carson Palmer, getting up in age and still being able to put on performances like he have against the Colts and even, in week one. And then you had Dallas, who got exploited by Denver. It was just what happened.
What happened?
Daryl? Considering, who do you have in this game?
I got to bounce back. I'm going to go ahead and take a chance. I'm picking the Cowboys for this one.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
I see Carson Palmer throwing 2 or more interceptions in this game.
Absolutely. I see him throwing 3 or more interceptions, but I do not see Dallas winning this game. I'm going with Arizona.
Oh, wow.
I'm going with Arizona. J.J. Green continued to have the game that he had like he did against the Colts. Step up, come back against Colts like that. Considering that the Colts' defense was very bad, I believe Arizona will have this game beat.
Okay.
The last time these two teams matched up in the last 3, Arizona won the last 2. Dallas won the last matchup in 2017, the preseason matchup 2018. Arizona won the regular season matchup in 2014, November 2nd, 28-17. And Arizona also won the preseason matchup 12-7. Oakland Raiders and the Washington Redskins. Take a look at that just real quick. The last 3 matchups, Washington won 24-14 regular season matchup. Also won the regular season matchup in 2009, December 13, 34-13. And Oakland won the 2005 matchup on November 20th, 16-13.
Swell. Well, there you have it. The best portion of our podcast is the predictions pick of the NFL. And this one, we just did predictions for week 3.
Headlines, NFL, NBA, and MLB. Daryl, it is yours.
All right, here we go. Your headlines for September 18th of 2017. We're going to kick this one off with the NBA. The only thing that I have for the NBA, of course, is the LA Sparks and the Minnesota Lynx. They are set for their rematch of the WNBA Finals from last year. That's all I got for the NBA. NFL. Starting off with Jordy Nelson, he suffered a quad injury in the loss to Atlanta Falcons. And speaking of the Falcons, of course, they won their home opener against the Packers.
In their new stadium, bear in mind, the Colts couldn't even do that.
They got beat by
their Super Bowl rematch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Ezekiel Elliott, he is not discouraged by his career worst day against that blowout for the Broncos. So that's going to be interesting on how this plays out for the rest of the year. I think he's distracted, but that's a whole nother ball game. Greg Olsen, he is not expected to miss the season, but he is missing some time with a foot injury. Of course, with the Chargers having their home debut against the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins spoiled that one, of course, and we mentioned that as predictions that we picked Dolphins winning that game too. That's all I have for the NFL. And moving on over to the MLB side, of course, Darren, you were right about the Cubs and the Cardinals. The Cubs did sweep the Cardinals.
I know this.
But as usual, as bragging rights, my condolences.
No, I know. I ain't worried about that. I just wanted to just get a point out that they was going to get swept. Because, matter of fact, didn't you make a bet with me a couple podcast shows ago? You made a bet with me a couple podcast shows ago.
Yeah, I made a bet that if the Cardinals make the playoffs, you're going to have to predict them next year.
I had to predict every win with them?
Yeah.
Chances are getting smaller and smaller. With that sweep, all they need to lose is 2 more games or more. They ain't make.
It's a bounce back.
Just throwing it out there, Bill.
It's just a bounce back. Cubs got everybody back. Cubs got everybody back. That's why they're winning games. That's why they've won 6 in a row. It's just, trust me. Look, as much as I don't like the Cardinals and I'm not a fan of the Cardinals, they still, as I always say, find a way to get into the playoffs. And they have shown that potential. Now, you cannot go against me on that one.
I'm not going against you on that, but here's what I will say on this. It ain't going to happen this year. Forget it. Forget it.
And whatever. And, of course, the Washington Nationals, they just hit their win number 90, joining the Dodgers. So that's all I got for that. So that is your headlines for the MLB, NFL, NBA, sports world for September 18th, 2017. All right. Final thoughts. What stood up to us in the NFL? Darren, what you got?
last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Exactly the now Tennessee Titans, without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, I hate to break this to you, but you had you broke off. Didn't catch anything that you said.
This been going on with you for quite some time, since it started with headlines. Titans. This is what stood out to me.
Tennessee Titans.
Yep.
All right. What stood out to me? Let it go. The Denver Broncos.
Fair. Who was your first pick?
My first pick was the Dolphins. I was impressed with the Dolphins. But more importantly, the Broncos really showed a team that had the number one seed last season. Got put out in the divisionals. So crap. So yeah, that stood out to me the most. But it was more importantly, it was the Broncos. Then it was the Dolphins. So that's what stood out to me in week 2. But of course, if there's nothing else, we can wrap this on up and get on out of here. All right. That is another edition of Double Take Sports Talk. If you like what you see, you just give this video a thumbs up. How you feel about today's show, you comment in the comment section below. As usual, we are here. Of course, we're on the social media sites of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can hit us up there. If you have any questions for us in particular, anything in general, just hit us up there, and we'll find the best way we can. But in the meantime, I'm Daryl. There's on the opposite side.
Yep.
All right, catch up with us on another episode of Double Take Sports Talk. Until then, ciao.
Ciao.
Double Take Sports Talk here with me, Daryl Watts. As many of you know, me and Darren enjoy talking sports and giving out stats, but we also enjoy entertaining while doing it. So with that being said, you can check us out on the social media side and get more involved in our podcast. We're on Twitter at DTST2414, or you like us on Facebook, Double Take Sports Talk page at The Watch Brothers. We're also on YouTube. Like, share, do what you got to do with that. Once again, we don't mind. Also, we are finally back on the podcast app for audio-only purposes for those who enjoy audio-only of our podcast. We're also on the blog, feature critical thinking and analysis, and you can check that out at doubletakesportstalk.blogspot.com. Thanks again.